You're probably staring at a dozen lights on Amazon, wondering if you'll end up spending a lot of money on something that looks impressive on paper but ends up collecting dust in the corner of your studio. It's a real headache, especially when the lighting you need can make or break the look of a short film, a portrait session, or even a YouTube tutorial. You want to avoid the classic mistake of buying a light that's either too weak for a bigger set or too bulky for a cramped home office, and you also don't want to waste cash on a unit that promises professional results but can't hold up when the lights really need to work. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. The Aputure LS600D, often called the 600D LED video light, sits at the high end of the portable LED market. It's marketed as a 600-watt daylight balanced source with a CRI and TLCI of 96, which essentially means the colors you capture should be almost indistinguishable from what you'd see under natural light. That alone makes it tempting for anyone who's ever struggled with skin tones looking flat or green screen spill that refuses to key cleanly. But the question most creators ask is whether those numbers actually translate into a smoother workflow on a real shoot. Let's start with the practical side of setting it up. The LS600D comes with an all-in-one control box that is completely silent, a small but surprisingly important detail if you've ever tried to film a quiet interview and heard a faint whine from a dimmer or fan. The control box lets you dial the output from 0 to full power in smooth increments, and you can also adjust color temperature in 10 Kelvin steps, although the unit is calibrated at a fixed 5600K for most users. Multiple control methods are built in. You have the physical knobs on the box, a built-in Bluetooth module that pairs with the Aputure app, and a standard DMX input for those who already have a lighting rig wired for that protocol. In a real-world scenario, I've seen cinematographers on location use the app on a tablet to sync several 600D units together, which cuts down the time you'd otherwise spend walking over to each light and tweaking the dials manually. Power options are where the LS600D really tries to be flexible. It ships with a mount battery plate that accepts the common Vlock batteries you'll find in most professional rigs, but it also has a DC input that can be fed from AC adapters or even a portable power bank that supports the required voltage. This means you can run the light off-grid for a day of documentary shooting, or you can plug it into studio power for a longer shoot without worrying about battery depletion. The downside? Those mount batteries are on the heavier side, so if you're planning to mount the light on a handheld rig or a gimbal, you'll need to factor in the extra weight, which can affect balance and endurance. Who should actually consider spending on the LS600D? If you're a freelance filmmaker who regularly shoots narrative content, a commercial photographer who needs consistent daylight color for product work, or a YouTuber who wants a look that can compete with big-budget productions, this light hits a sweet spot. Its high output can fill a medium-sized room with a soft, even wash, so you won't have to stack multiple smaller fixtures to achieve the same illumination. That translates to fewer cables, less clutter, and a cleaner power draw. It also pairs nicely with softboxes, beauty dishes, or a simple diffusion panel, giving you the flexibility to shape the light without sacrificing intensity. On the other hand, if you're just starting out, have a tiny home studio, or primarily shoot static product photography where a modest 150-watt LED panel would do the job, the LS600D may be overkill. Its size and weight, roughly the dimensions of a small suitcase, mean you'll need a sturdy light stand or a rig that can handle the load. For someone who only needs a portable LED for occasional vlog recordings, the investment could feel disproportionate, especially when there are less expensive alternatives that still deliver decent CRI numbers. Now, let's talk about the practical strengths that become apparent after the box is opened. First, the color fidelity is genuinely impressive. With CRI and TLCI both at 96, the light reproduces reds, blues, and skin tones with minimal shift, which saves you a lot of time in post-color grading. I've watched footage shot with the LS600D where the skin looked natural under a single source, and the key light didn't need any extra gels or correction. Second, the dimming curve is linear, so when you pull back to 30% power you get a consistent, predictable output rather than a sudden drop that can cause flicker or uneven exposure across the frame. Third, The silent control box eliminates the risk of microphone bleed, a subtle but crucial advantage for dialogue-heavy scenes. The weaknesses are mostly about the logistics of handling a high-output light. The heat management system is effective, but the unit does get warm after an hour.